In this video, I'm going to go step by step through the process of creating this simple web page using HTML and CSS. To get the most benefit from this video, you should have some basic understanding of HTML and CSS. If you are new to HTML and CSS, then I would encourage you to watch the videos that I designed specifically for beginners. There is one series for HTML and one for CSS. To start off, we're going to go to littlewebhut.com and click on the CSS tab. And then I'm going to click on Background. And then I'll click on the Tested XHTML button. This will give me some sample code that I can use as a starting point. I'm going to go up to the Style section and delete this information here. Then I'm going to go to the Body section and delete this information. And now I'm going to start by adding a div tag to the Body section. I'll go ahead and make the closing div tag now. And this div element is going to contain my entire web page. The first thing that I want to do with this div tag is to add a style to it. So I'm going to add my style by using a class attribute. And I'm going to name the class Container. And then I'll go up to the Style section and apply a style to this container. I'm going to set its width to 700 pixels. And then I want this content to be centered in the middle of the page. And so I'm going to set the left and the right margin to auto. Now I'm going to add the header section. So inside my container div, I'm going to create another div. And I'll go ahead and close that. The first thing that I want to add to the header section is an image. So I'll add an image tag, and I'll set the source attribute to point to an image of an 8-ball that I have. And I'll set the alt attribute, which is used to display text in the event that the image cannot be displayed. And if I press the test button now, I should see my image. And now I'm going to add some text using a header tag. So I'll use the h1 tag, and I'll just type website name. And then I'll press the test button to see what I have so far. And now let's add some styles to the header section. So I'll go up to my div tag for the header, and I'll set the class attribute, and I'll call this header. And then I'll go up to the style section here, and I'll add a style to the header. And I'm going to start by setting the background color. And then I'll press my test button again. So now I have my background color, but it's really hard to read this text. And so I'm going to set the text to a white color. And I'll do that by going up here to the style section. And first, I'll specify that I want to apply the style to the header class. And I want to apply it to the h1 tag within the header class. So now I'll set this color to white. And press the test button again. And now I have white text. The next thing that I would like is for this text down here to appear on the right side of my image. And I do that by setting the float property for this image to left. So I'll come up here and I'll type in the header class name, and then I'll specify that I want to use the image within that class. And I'll use the float property, and I will set it to left. And now when I press the test button, the image is on the left side of my text. The next thing that I want to do is set the line height for my text. So I'll go up to this H1 style right here, and I'll type line height. And I'm going to set that to 80 pixels. Press the test button. And then next I want to shrink down my image. So I'll go up to the image style up here, and I'm going to give it a width and a height. So the height I will set to 70 pixels. And the width I will set to 100 pixels. And let's take a look at that. The next thing I want to do is add some padding to this image so that I can center it a little better. So I'll go up to the image style, and I'm going to add 5 pixels of padding. And then there's one more style that I want to apply to this image. I want to give it margin on the right side so that I can have some space in between the image and this text. So I'll type margin right, and I'll give that 20 pixels. And then we'll look at that. Now I'm finished with the heading section, so I'm going to move on to the navigation section, which will be below it and to the left. So I'm going to use another div element here. I'll go ahead and close that. And the navigation is going to be enclosed within this div element. And the first thing that I'm going to add here is some text. So I'm going to use the p tag. And I'll also add the strong tag so that I can make this text bold. And I'll just call this navigation. Then I need to close the strong tag and the p tag. And let me go ahead and look at this now. And then I'm going to add some hyperlinks, and I'm going to structure them inside of an unordered list. So then I'll use the UL tag for the unordered list. And I'll go ahead and close this tag. And then I'll add a list item. And an anchor tag. And for the href attribute, I'm just going to use 1.html. And then for the text, I'm just going to say 1. And then I'll close these two tags here. And I want to have 3 links, and so I'm just going to cut and paste here. And I'm on a Windows machine, so I can just do Control-C to copy, and then Control-V to paste. I'll paste this a couple times. And then I'll just change these links to 2 and 3. And then also the text. And then press the test button. Now if you'll notice, each of these hyperlinks, the text is underlined, and I want to get rid of the underlining. So I can do that just by going, I'll go up to the top of my styles here, and I just need to type an A so that this style will be applied to the A tag. And then I'll set the text decoration style. And I'll set that to none. And now when I press the test button, the underlining is gone. And now I'm ready to apply some other styles to my navigation section. So in my navigation div, I'm going to add a class. And I'll call it nav. Then up in the styles section, I'll go ahead and apply a style to this. And I'm going to start by setting the background color. And I'll take a look at this. And one thing you'll notice here is that I have a space between the header section here and this navigation section. And the reason for that is some of the tags have default settings for padding and margin that is not 0. So what I can do is I can go up to the very top of my style section, and I'll use an asterisk, which is a universal selector. This means that the style that I put here will be applied to all of the tags within my web page. So the styles that I'm going to add are padding, and I'm going to set that to 0, and then also margin. And this causes all of the tags to have padding and margin values set to 0. For any of the tags that I wish to have values other than 0, all I need to do is set those somewhere following this line in the styles section. So let's press the test button and see what we have now. And now you'll notice that there's no space in between the heading and the navigation section. The next thing that I'll do is add a width to the navigation section. So I'll go up to this navigation style section here and set the width to 150 pixels. And take a look at that. And now I want to apply a style to the unordered list element within the nav section. So I'll go up here and I'll type nav to get the nav class. And then I'll type UL so that this will be applied to the unordered list. And then I'm going to set the margin here to 15 pixels. And let's take a look at that. And then you'll notice that I have these little dots at the beginning of each one of these lines here. And I want to get rid of those. And so I can do that by using the list style type property. So I will apply that to the unordered list and set this to none. And let's take a look below here. And now those little dots are gone. And now I'm ready to add the main content section of the web page. So I'm going to do that by adding another div element. And as usual, I'll go ahead and close it now. And the first thing that I'll add is some text. And I'll use the p tag. And again, I want to use the strong tag so that I can make this text bold. And I'll just call this main content. And then close the strong and the p tags. And let me take a look at this so far. You'll notice that the main content text is below the navigation section, and I want it to be over here on the right. So I need to apply a float property to this navigation section and float it to the left. So I'll go up to the navigation style here and type float left. And now my main content text is on the right side. And now I'll add some more text to the main content section. And I'm going to do that using the p tag. And then I'm going to cut and paste again so that I can get a total of 7 lines. And then I'll take a look at that. And you'll notice here that this text, when it reached the bottom, it wrapped around the navigation section. And I don't want that. I want all of this text to be in alignment. So I can do this by setting a style for this main content section. And so I'll use the div for the main content and add a class. And I'll call this class content. And then up in the styles section, I'll add a style for this content. And I'm just going to set the float property to left. And now when I press the test button, all of our text here is now in alignment, and the text no longer wraps around the navigation section. So now let's add another section which will go to the right side of the content section. So again, I'll use a div element. And I'll add some text using a p tag. And I'll use strong again so that I can set it to bold. And I'm going to copy and paste this so that I can get 3 of these. And you'll notice here that this text on the right side touches the text in the main content area. So I'm going to add a style to prevent this. And the first style that I'm going to add is to the main content section, and I'm going to give it a width of 400 pixels. Now when I press the test button, the main content area is 400 pixels wide, and so it pushes this right side text over to the right side. And now I'll add some styles to this right side text. So I'll go to the div element here and add another class. And I'll just call this right. And now I'll go up and add a style for the right side. And I'm going to start out by giving it a background color. And let's take a look at this. And you'll notice that this background color extends all the way over to the navigation section, which I don't want. So I need to go up to this right style and add a float property and set that to left. And then when I press the test button, this background color will only extend over to the main content area. But now you'll also notice that it doesn't extend all the way to the right side. So I can fix this by adding a width property. So I'll set the width to 150 pixels. And now it extends all the way to the right side. And then I have one more section to add, which is the footer section. So as before, I'll use a div element. And I'm going to add some text using the p tag. And then close the p tag. And then press the test button. And you'll notice here that the footer text that I just added is below this right side text. And I actually want it to be below all of these different sections here. So I can do that by adding a style to this footer section. So I'll go to my div element and add a class attribute. And I'll call this footer. And then I'll go up to the style section and add a style to the footer. And the property that I need to set is the clear property. And I'll set that to left. And that'll cause this to be displayed below these other sections here. So I'll press the test button. And now I can see the footers down at the bottom like I want it to be. And now I'm going to set the background color for the footer section. And let's look at that. And we're almost done here. Notice that this text in the main content area extends clear over to the left side of the content area. Same with this right side text here. It extends clear to the left side of its area. So what I want to do is add some padding to the left side of all of these p tags. So I'll go up to the Styles section and I'll add a style for the P tag. And the style that I'll add is padding for the left side. And I'll set this to 10 pixels. And then press the test button again. And now I have a space between this text and the navigation section, as well as a space to the left side of this text here, as well as a space to the left side of this navigation here and the footer. Well, so that's our simple web page. You can use this as a template and then just customize it to your own needs. I have applied all of my styles in the head section of the web page. It is common to put all of the styles in an external style sheet document. For information about how to do this, you can go back to the CSS page at Little Web Hut and click on How to Apply Styles. Near the bottom of the page, you will find a section titled Use External Style Sheet. This can give you more information about how to do this. Well, thanks for watching, and please subscribe and leave a comment.